Hi, this is James from TesseracT, and this is Antihero Online.
So the tour pretty much just kicked off. How's the response been so far with the few dates that you got under your belt so far?
It's been brilliant, actually. I guess it's always kind of nerve-wracking at the beginning of the tour. You never really know, if everything's going to work and if the set works, and but it's been really smooth, and the crowds have been awesome. Yeah, it's been. And I think we're day 4 now, and really excited to be on this tour, and can't wait for the rest of it.
And when you guys were going through and setting up the tour and planning the on-stage performance, what kind of elements did you want to bring to this tour that maybe you hadn't brought to the ones before?
In terms of the set, I think we thought we'd arrange it so that we basically kick off with loads of kind of high energy tracks at the beginning. In the past, we've sort of start off with like a proggy track and sort of warm into it. We're just going to go. We're going full throttle from the beginning, just to kind of get the crowd going. And I think we're pulling out some of the heavier ones as well. We're definitely basically going for a more heavier kind of show than I had previously. Also, we've really put a lot of thought into the light shows, so we've got good visuals as well. So it should be an all-round kind of good experience.
And that's one of the awesome things that you guys kind of took into account is the light show. It's not just a live performance, you guys are delivering a display of the band.
Yeah.
What kind of influenced you guys to invest in lighting and bring that overall performance into this tour?
I think it's, I noticed from seeing loads of other bands with great stage shows, and you realise it adds so much more to the experience of watching a band when. If you're watching a band for an hour and a half and it's just 4 guys shaking their heads and riffing, I mean, it's cool, but I think if you can make that more interesting, it's much more engaging for the audience and people have a better time.
And speaking about engagement, it's hard to keep people's attention nowadays. Is that one of the things that you guys took into account? With stellar lighting rigs and a good fast-paced set list, you keep up people's attention for a little bit longer than you might have years ago.
Yeah, I think so. I think our plan was pretty much just to keep people engaged and just give them lots of quite bite-sized things that nothing too meaty at the beginning, so people don't get not get bored, but sort of get distracted. Just sort of bang, 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 and then once you've got people fully engaged, then you can sort of start to experiment more with the less obvious, the less immediate songs. So, yeah.
And you guys just released a new album.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the creative process that you guys went through with this album, and maybe some of the things that you did different when you went into the studio this time that you wanted to kind of experiment with from previous records.
I think, the album was pretty much recorded like all the others have been. It's mainly done in Ackle, the other guitar player's home studio. And I think what was different this time around is we did I guess the writing process was more collaborative than before, because Ackle's the main songwriter. But everyone in the band had a fair bit more input on this one, so it was quite nice. There was one track in particular, King, which almost came together like a traditional jam sort of track, where basically there was one riff, and then somebody took that riff and added something to it, and then it all basically just got added. Everyone added their own little bits, and then suddenly Ackle finished it off and rearranged it, and then there was the song. And then, traditionally, that's never been how Tesseract's written, so that was kind of cool. One thing that was definitely really different was Aidan O'Brien, our front of house engineer and producer. He basically used loads of field recordings to add lots of the ambience and sound effects. So we asked fans to send in recordings of anything they want. So we had things like somebody recorded their mum singing whilst making a cup of tea. Somebody filmed a cat vomiting. That was a weird one. Loads of weird and wonderful sounds. And Aidan basically used all that to make various textures and atmospherics. So yeah, that was quite fun. And also it's nice to include the fans in it as well.
So the fans had a big part of the album as well. What kind of influenced you guys to want to do something like that, open it up to the public and let them contribute to the album itself?
I think probably a couple of reasons why. One, I think it was just a really interesting creative idea. But secondly, it also ties in with the concept of the album Sonder, which means the realization that everyone around you has as complex and detailed and interesting life as your own. So it's sort of a message about being inclusive and not being sort of self-centered. And so tying in with that, it was great to get fans involved and make them a part of it.
And since this album's out, when you guys go into the studio next time, what do you want to do when you come in? added some creative stuff with this record. What do you feel like the next album should have as a creative aspect?
That's a really difficult question. Don't really know yet. I think we could actually have a bunch of songs that are work in progress. I think so. We're well on the way to making the next album, but yeah, I think we haven't quite figured out where it's going properly, and yeah. So in all honesty, I don't know yet, but we will think of something, I'm sure.
And there was elements that you took from previous records. What did you guys learn from the older stuff to what you're at now? How did you guys kind of grow as a band?
I think we rediscovered our enjoyment for heaviness, and like in particular sort of more aggressive vocal. Because for the last couple of records we kind of moved away from it, and it was mainly because we kind of got bored of it, because so many bands have aggressive vocals, and whenever we tried anything it just sounded like somebody else, or we weren't feeling it. But on this album we've kind of rediscovered doing that, and I mean there's not loads of it, but it's used more as like a dynamic tool rather than like loads of screaming. But I think bringing back the heaviness is definitely what we took from the older material.
Evolution of the band too. You guys tried some things, you didn't like it, and you kind of went back to your roots a little bit. How important is it for you guys to kind of stick to your roots but still add that experimentation in there every once in a while as well?
I don't think it's actually that important. I think what we do try to make every album an evolution from the last one, so we want it to be different, we want it to sound different, we want the songs, like the structure, everything behind it to be different. But I guess it's always going, because we'll be using the same kind of sounds, I think it's always going to have that similarity in terms of tones. And having said that, we've changed all the tones up on this album, but it's still kind of the same thing. So yeah, I think we just want to make sure we want it to be different, and because I think it needs to excite us. We need to be into it, and if it sounds like something we've done before, it's not interesting to us. If it's not interesting to us, we don't think it will be to anyone else. So.
I mean, a lot of bands won't take that risk. They'll stick to a formula that's proven, it works for them, and they won't risk it. How is that different with you guys, that you are willing to take that type of risk?
Well, I think we have to take the risk in order to keep us interested. I think if we just churned out something that was exactly the same, we would get bored and probably not bother anymore.
And then the last thing that I got for you with this current tour, what are you looking forward to the most about the whole tour?
To be honest, the shows have been really good. I'm just looking forward to playing every night. It's just really nice to... So we haven't toured since... In fact, our last tour was last summer. And then we did a couple of one-off shows in the autumn. So it's just really nice to be out playing, and I'm just looking forward to playing every night. Basically watching people get into it and enjoy it. It's a great fun thing to do.
That's awesome. Is there anything that I left off that you would like to add?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we covered quite a lot. I'd like to shout out the rest of the tour if this goes out before the tour's finished. Check our tour dates, check out our socials, TesseracT Band, and come and see a show if we're near you. Or drive to see us if we're not near you.